every threat there lies an opportunity, and the IAF found itself pounding live targets instead of the usual peacetime range work. Captured war diaries taken from Pakistani dead subsequently bore ample testimony to the effectiveness of most air attacks, the supply camp at Manthodalo being a case in point. The major task of the IAF in the Kargil war was to inflict serious damage to the Pak intruders, to hasten their withdrawal and to support our attacking ground forces. Mirage 2000 along with the MiGs rewrote the classical doctrines of air war in the mountains. Cameras aligned to the laser beams guiding the bombs onto the targets bring out the stark and deadly accuracy of these weapons that could even neutralize designated bunkers. The versatility of helicopters made them an obvious platform for operations in such terrain. Mi-17 helicopter units, armed with rocket pods, were inducted into Op Safed Sagar around mid-May. In its ground attack role, the Mi-17s took on the well-dug-in enemy in 4 aircraft formations. Generally, the areas that they struck were Tololing and then Point 5140. Despite the altitude and terrain, most of the attacks were quite successful, with the helicopter pilots picking out enemy positions and sangars among the boulders.
From the IP, one would start commencing the climb, which was required for putting in rocket attacks. 57mm rockets were used. These were things which had sort of never been done before.
With the IAF hitting targets from the air and dominating the skies over Kargil, over 500 counter-surface force missions were flown, the Indian Army painstakingly evading the raiders from seemingly impossible heights, often at the point of the bayonet. The Kargil war, like all other wars, left in its wake the horror of the dead, the wounded and the maimed. Many lived through the ordeal only because of timely and swift evacuation from the combat zones, as helicopter pilots, both of Army Aviation and the Air Force, were always on call for this demanding task. In relative terms, the Kargil war was short and swift. The combined might of the Indian armed forces succeeded in evicting the enemy in ignominy from seemingly impossible heights within a short span of time. However, the undeclared war further to the north on the Siachen Glacier continues. In 1984, evidence of Pakistani intrusion into the area north of Tortuk, the last clearly demarcated point along the LOC as per the Shimla Agreement, was brought to India's notice by visiting mountaineering expeditions. In addition, post-1981, US Air Force maps also showed the Siachen region as part of Pakistan. The Indian Army, on board Air Force helicopters, moved into the region, occupying key positions on the Saltoro Ridge, with the intention of denying the strategically important glacier to Pakistani troops. 17 bloody years later, Siachen continues to be the world's highest battlefield, with troops occupying frontline posts at altitudes of 20,000 feet, some 6 kilometers above sea level. In the Siachen saga, IAF helicopters have played a key role, defying sub-zero temperatures, treacherous terrain, and operating at altitudes far beyond the designer's specifications. They are the main link between the army and the rest of the country. Regardless of the sophistication and efficacy of equipment, it is the inherent capability of the human behind the machine and the training imparted to hone his skills that is the crucial factor in total effectiveness.
Bravo right 090. Alpha trail left half 11.6. Bravo lead.
The Indian Air Force requires dedicated professionals to carry out a wide spectrum of tasks and has evolved the requisite training infrastructure and techniques to meet the multifarious requirements. The Air Force is at the forefront of technology's cutting edge. The inherent strengths of aerospace power make its platform the delivery method of choice for employing technology in its various avatars. The flexibility of air power allows for a tailored, quick and appropriate response using a variety of systems to achieve national objectives. Some of these delivery platforms of the future would need to incorporate stealth, including not only aircraft and missiles, but also the capability to make the enemy ineffective through various electronic countermeasure systems. Various indigenous organizations work round the clock on aircraft, weapons and systems to keep the Air Force contemporary. The Aircraft and Systems Testing Establishment is a dedicated test center that undertakes flight evaluation of all aircraft prior to their induction into service, be they of helicopter, fighter or transport streams. In order to enhance the operational potential of the existing aircraft of the IAF, AST also undertakes flight testing for evaluation and integration of various advanced weapons and other airborne systems. It also undertakes flight testing on behalf of HAL and other DRDO establishments. Sea control for a nation with such a massive coastline is of critical importance. The defense of this long boundary and the ability to launch shore-based maritime strikes are also important Air Force tasks today.
Contact on bearing 032 right.
The potential and operational value of shore-based aircraft in a maritime role is even more relevant today than it has ever been. Rapid mobilization is perhaps the key to launch maritime strikes, and these aircraft contribute significantly to deter any threat from the sea. Squadrons are especially trained and equipped for a maritime role, and these often operate in conjunction with the Indian Navy. Success in modern warfare depends on joint teamwork. Battles are won by all the services operating effectively together. In the Arabian Sea, the Lakshadweep Islands lie about 200 nautical miles from the Malabar coast and are strategically so situated that they overlook two important shipping lanes originating from the Gulf of Aden and Oman to Colombo and the Far East. Similarly, on the eastern seaboard, the northern chain of these islands comprises of the North, Middle and South Andaman Islands. There are also two isolated islands, the Little Andaman and the Car Nicobar, which is the main IAF base. The 10-degree channel separates the southern Nicobar group from the northern Andaman group. Surrounded by Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, Bangladesh and the mainland, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are of particular strategic importance